Welcome, Chad. What is going on? Chris with Journals, Comics, and Pop Culture. And this is another Friday Night Live. Wow, we got a show today. Obviously, you guys probably see the title. Before I get into all that though, let's just say what's up to some folks that are here. We got Luis and Louie, Tricky, Simon, Adam. Thank you all for being here. A bearded one. So I got a few things to get into while we're letting some folks roll in before we get into the topic of discussion. I'm going to say right now, though, this is going to be a live stream that is welcoming of all people and opinions, as long as we are respectful of one another. I am going to set that tone right now because I know we're going to be addressing some sensitive issues. So I want everyone to know this is not a place to stand on a soapbox and spew hate. All right, any direction, I don't care. If you think that you're going to come here and be hateful to a person because of their differences of opinions or whatever, I will respectfully tell you to maybe step away, leave the stream, and just come watch, some videos that I release next week and come join my next live stream where we talk about something more basic and simple, like, what's CG with their price hikes or something like that, right? Jesse, what's going on? Andres, what is up, folks? Comic Book Canon. I gotta make a Comic Book Canon a mod on my live streams. Pedro, what's going on? So again, as I always like to say, for those just joining, if you aren't subscribed to the, obviously, please take some time to do so. Give me a sub up. I produce content 7 days a week in that live stream Friday. And of course, after that, I have my Comic Book Canon show every Friday night after here. So if you aren't following or subscribed to us on Comic Book Canon, our link is below. Go give us a sub over there. We have another awesome show tonight. Awesome show. Lots of great news this week, especially for Marvel and all things MCU. I'm going to be talking about a patron giveaway before we get into the main topic of discussion tonight. I'm also going to be showing off some member submissions for some hot covers of the month that were for last month's theme that I forgot to show off last week. So I apologize. I'm going to be showing those off today. Matt Stat, Remy, Shadow Rat. All right. No hate, nothing but love. That's what I'm talking about, man. And really, guys, we're gonna get to talking about some things, and I want us all to come away understanding that we are all in this hobby, love of it, and to focus on our commonalities is how we should come away from our discussion today. So. Definitely. Let's take a couple more minutes, let some more folks get in. I'm going to show off my prize for my next patron contest. So we just hit over 30 patron members today. Thank you to each and every 31 of you. I'm extremely grateful. I was going to have my next contest at the end of June, but as long as I don't lose any members to get us back under 30, I'm going to bump up the next contest to the end of May. All right. So you guys want to see the prizes? Let's just go ahead and show those prizes off. And again, if you guys are interested in being a patron member of the channel, that link is below. It's only $3.99 a month. You can be a YouTube member of the channel for only $1.99 a month. There are perks involved and extra involved with that as well. Let me show off the next contest. Josh, what's going on, Josh? Bearded one. All right, so for all my patrons, if you're signed up by the end of May, you're going to get automatically in this contest, and you're going to receive a Thor #5 second printing. It's the first appearance of Black Winter. Look at that beautiful cover. So you're going to get that bad boy. All right, you're going to get this beautiful Gleason third print. It makes Spider-Man 55, the blue variant. Look at that. I love it. I don't know what my favorite is. The white, the red, the blue. All right, you're going to get this awesome 12 Teenage Hot Rodders. And you are also going to get an unopened 4-pack. The Walmart DC books with Future State Wonder Woman #1, the first full appearance of Yar. I don't know what else is in here. There's 3 other books, but I know there's this one. And this book, it's already been hot, man. It's a $40. I was lucky to come across one of these sometime back at Walmart, and I said, you know what? Because I already have my copy. I said I'm gonna give that away. So that is going to be next patron only giveaway. Again, that's for every Patreon member that is signed up by the end of May. And remember, if it's only $3.99 a month, but if you sign up for the $7.98 membership, you will get 2 entries into the contest. So again, you got your DC 3-pack with Yard Floor, first full appearance, some 12-cent Teenage Hot Rodders. You got the Glee print to make Spider-Man 50 blue variant. And you got Thor 55. #5, second print, first appearance of Black Winter. I might throw a couple of kind of random cheapy books in there too, just to add a little something else. But there it is, guys. Thank you so much to all my Patreon supporters. I will be doing a way that will include my YouTube channel members as well, probably sometime in June. So look out for that if you are a YouTube channel member. So, and of course, you guys also get entries into all of my standard YouTube contests. We just did my 5K one. The next one that I'm gonna is my big 10K giveaway. Look, I'm close to 7K. I know I'm gonna be pushing and working hard, giving you guys content 7 days a week to get to that 10K sooner than later. So it's gonna be coming right around the corner. All right, guys. I want to do one more thing before we get into the main topic of discussion today. I want to show off some member submissions of some awesome covers. Okay, so for my Patreon members and my YouTube channel members, April, I asked you guys favorite green covers. That's right, green, because green is my favorite cover. I had a few that I forgot to show off last week, so we're going to go ahead, show them off here, guys. So we got a few. We're going to start off with, I think Tricky's in the chat. Let's see. I think I saw him. We're going to bring his submission up here. Green. Give me one moment. We are going to share this submission, and here we go. All right, there it is. What I believe that's Uncanny X-Men number 286. Tricky is in the house. I knew he was here. Sir Cam, what is going on? Dr. Doom. All right, a beautiful green background. I love Archangel. Tricky, thank you so much for submitting this book. I love my late 80s and early 90s X-Men stuff. Absolutely. All right, next up, guys, we're going to bring up another submission here. We got Larissa, good friend of the channel and Patreon member Larissa. Look at that. It's kind of a photo filtered kind of a swampy mud green, but it's green, and that's Swamp Thing #1 Future State. I do believe that's the B variant. Look at that. That's some Swamp Thing goodness right there. Larissa, thank you. So I don't know if she's in the chat right now, but thank you, Larissa, so much for submitting this for our green covers of the month. Look at that. That's creepy. That's some creepy stuff. I haven't read the Swamp Thing Future State. All right. Another good friend of the channel and Patreon member, Pedro. Look at that beautiful green Star Wars. I don't know exactly what book that is. I think he said it in the email, but I do believe that's a variant. I love me some Yoda. You guys know I'm a big Yoda fan. That is a beautiful green Yoda cover. He had one more here. Oh no, it's the same book. Look at that. Hey, I will say though, Pedro also did submit some original art. I told him I'd show this off. Look at this John Romita sketch of the Punisher. Wow. I mean, it's so basic yet so, John Romita, and I love it. Look at that. So clean. I love me some John Romita. I always say John Romita is definitely, if not my favorite, top 3 favorite artists of all time. John Romita Sr. I believe there was another one in here. Look at this. The Walking Dead. Oh man, he told me what this one was, and I forget, but look at that. Look at the blood splatter. That is amazing work. Wow. Walking Dead number 109. Who's ready for the last season? I think it premieres in August. That is something, man. That is dope. Yes. All right, Pedro, thank you so much for the submission. So, guys, this is how it works. If you are a member or a YouTube channel member, every month we have monthly submissions where you can submit with the hashtag. I believe I have the hashtag right here. If you guys want me to pull it up, hashtag Journo's monthly cover. So if you go on IG, you can either email me, Captain Journo Comics at Gmail, or post it on Instagram with hashtag Journo's monthly covers. But here's the thing. You have to be a YouTube channel member, and you have to be or a Patreon member, and it has to be according to the theme. It can be whatever you want. So I haven't yet announced what the May, it's the month of May, right? What May theme is. But I'm going to tell you right now, all right? Right now, for your May submissions, for all of my YouTube members and Patreon members, if you want to submit a cover, the cover theme for the month of May is duos, all right? So any tag team, it has to be 2 people, not a group, okay? Not 3, 4, or 5, but a team up of 2 people. So that is going to be the theme for May. So hashtag Journo's monthly covers, or you can email forward to seeing all of your guys' submissions for this month. Right. Oh man, we got a super chat from Vive Mecca. Helps stop anti-Asian hate at stopaapihate.org. Vive, I appreciate the super chat. Definitely, obviously, we are, I know my channel is a no hate channel. We're here to love and respect no matter our differences, to come together on commonalities. And it looks like you're promoting a good cause. I don't know nothing about it, but I'm all about anti-hate all around. So thank you so much for that super chat. Louis, thank you on the props on the shirt. ABZ, what's going on? All right, guys. Steve. Steve, are you already entering a submission? Is that what you're doing here? Are you already entering a submission? Did you send me an email? If you did, I didn't get it. But yeah, man, if you're looking to submit something for the month, but again, remember, guys, it's for members. So let's get into the topic of discussion for the day, guys. The world's enemy. What's going on? So, all right. There's no easy way to dive into this topic, everyone. All right. But I just have to do it. Darth, what's going on, Darth? So, and you might ask, what brought me to make today's Friday Night Live show about race in comic books? And the reason why I decided to do this tonight is because of a lot of things that transpired over this last week. And to be quite honest, a lot of the reaction in the community disappointed me. And there's three main things. All right. One was further context regarding the reboot of the Superman franchise in live action under Warner Brothers in DC. It's pretty clear that the next Superman is going to be Black, African American, whatever term you want to use. It seems that is pretty much feasible and a fact at this point. All right. That was a big topic of discussion this week. Second was the casting of Red Sonja, of a biracial actress. All right. And lastly was the announcement of a native indigenous Captain America that teams up with Steve Rogers in the United States of what's that series called? The 80th anniversary series, the United States of America, or the United States of Captain America, issue 3, right? Those are the three things that I saw as topics of discussions that I just saw going completely sideways. And so much hate. And it breaks my heart. It absolutely breaks my heart. So this is what I'm going to do. I took some notes. I'm going to say, first and foremost, this is not a political discussion today. It's not. This is absolutely not a political discussion whatsoever. I'm going to make this clear. Race is not a political issue at heart. It's a human issue. All right. I'm not talking about policies or anything like that. You know, if we're talking about, civil rights laws, then it becomes a political issue. I'm not going there. This is not about politics. So I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, independent, whatever, anarchist. I don't care. I believe that all of us, no matter what we believe politically, can be here today as a community and have this discussion while, respecting each other. Larissa, she is here. I hope you got to see your cover that I showed off, Larissa. Moonlit, thank you so much for being here as well. So, here's the thing. This is not a political debate. It's not a political discussion. All right. I want to get that out of the way. I don't tend to party politics. I've said that on my channel before. I don't. When I get involved in politics, especially local politics, one thing I like about local politics is that candidates don't run on a ballot on a party ballot. We don't know. Like if you're voting for mayor or city council peoples, you don't know if they're Republican, conservative, liberal, whatever. So I like that because it allows you to look at them as a human being, look at their actions and look at their policies and base your decisions on that instead of saying, oh, well, they're Democrats, so that just means I'm voting for them because I'm a Democrat. I don't know nothing about them. Or, oh, they're a Republican, I'm voting for them. I don't know nothing about them, but because I align. So that's why I don't get down with party. I think it's ridiculous, to be quite honest. I'm about the individual and what they stand for and about judging individuals by their actions. Because guess what? Corruption exists and special interests exist, and it doesn't bleed one party line or another. No siree. So that's all I'm going to say about politics. Let's get politics and shove it out the door. Bye. We'll see you. You'll be invited to the next dinner discussion or something like that. Not today. This is not political whatsoever. All right. So I talked about the three incidences that happened this week that I saw a lot of ugliness. So I'm already seeing comments, guys, that I'm just like, I want to respond to, but I can't. And I hope that I'm not saying I'm not going to answer your guys' questions, but I have so much on the plate that I have to start going off of the point I need to make. And hopefully as I start talking, it'll answer some of your guys' points, or hopefully it'll make you guys open your mind to see outside of your narrow perspective. And I'm not saying narrow as in that's a bad thing, but we tend to have tunnel vision when it comes to our points of views. It's just human nature, right? So I hope to open your guys' perspectives today. All right. when I'm done going through, I'll come back to the comments and I'll leave a discussion here. But I want everyone to know this is challenging you all. Challenging you all. Down your walls. All right, take a deep breath. Relax. Put down your walls. And while I'm talking and why we're here today as a group, as a community, I want you to do your best to listen with an open mind, to put your guards down and put yourself in someone else's shoes. It's not about your experience that you've experienced your whole life or what you may be going through right now. It's not about your personal experiences. You are going to have to humble yourself, even if it may hurt a little, to take yourself out of your own experiences and put yourself in other people's shoes. All right. I'm going to. And guys, I can't sit and monitor the comments, so I beg you all, be kind to one another. All right. Be respectful, be adult and kind. All right. Let's talk about groundwork here. All right. Race and comments. I already said this is not a political discussion, right? We're not here to argue, disrespect, or bully or antagonize anyone. I kind of stated that already. In the chat, if you're in the chat and you have differences of opinions, like I said, be respectful. Any hateful rhetoric towards anyone will not be tolerated. You will be muted if you cross that line, and especially if I ask you to back up and kill it. All right, so there's some key words that we're gonna focus on today. Virtue signaling, pandering, forced. All right, those are three words that I'm gonna circle back around to a few times. Virtue signaling, pandering, and forced. All right, I want to talk like this. I did a video. This is how I'm going to lead into this. I did a video. Michael, thank you so much for becoming a member. I really appreciate you. Appreciate it. I did a video about a year and a half ago talking about race changing of characters and when it's okay and when it's not okay in comic books or in comic book movies and whatnot. And I'm not going to get all into that today, but one thing I brought up in that video was I went back and gave a history, right? In order to understand where we are today, we have to educate ourselves to the past. It's a simple fact. And I'm going to tell you all right here, whether you're white, black, I don't care what race or ethnicity, I don't care what you believe in or who you are or where you come from in life. Even if you're not American, but if you are American, it's okay. It's okay to admit that America has a racist past. I'm going to tell you all right now, it doesn't, especially if you're white, if you're a Caucasian individual living in America, it's okay to admit that America has a racist past. It's that simple. Again, this isn't political. It's a fact. I mean, come on. We had a country that built itself. We built a country off of chattel slavery. You know what else is a fact? Chattel slavery is one of the worst dehumanizing slaveries to ever exist. We continue to build this country off of racism leading into the 20th century with Jim Crow up until we passed civil rights laws. All right. We persecuted, Asians and Latinos and Central and South Americans for a very long time as well. And I'm not going to get into the climate of today because, like I said, I don't want to make this political, but all these got to understand they're fact. I mean, we can even women in this country were oppressed, and you could argue that people that are marginalized in this country, right? Even outside of race, classism is a very real thing in this country. And sometimes it doesn't matter what race you are. I know that myself from my experience. Classism, you can be white, poverty, inexperience, hate based on classism or prejudice based on classism. There was a lot of that in this country. There's a lot of it all over the world. All right. We know when it comes to comic books, the comic books were created in this country, created in a time where a lot of these prejudices that were normalized based on race and gender still existed. So it's okay to admit that when DC, those creators at Timely and all that, when they were creating characters, the only reason why they all were white was because we lived in a prejudiced country, in a prejudiced world that did not allow representation of minorities. That's not political, it's a fact, and it's okay to admit that. All right? Leading up into the 60s, and Stan Lee, who was somebody that stood up for civil rights all of his life, it took him 5 years, even him, somebody who wanted to impact change, it took him 5 years to create a black superhero because of the standard status quo. Now, keep in mind as well, black individuals and minorities not only were allowed to be represented in fictional pages of comic books, but real black and brown individuals were not allowed inside the building. Black and brown artists were not given jobs. Black and brown writers and editors were not given jobs. They were black, were not allowed in the industry for decades. This is a fact. All while black folks were being lynched, hanged, and hosed. Japanese were being persecuted Japanese citizens were being persecuted in their own country, being thrown in a concentration camp, deemed as enemies. This is all fact, not political, okay? I'm just giving you some history here. This is just history, all right? All right. Let's dive into more of where we're at now. Before I talk about this again, I'm gonna repeat myself. I want you all to try to step outside of your own shoes. Step outside of everything that you guys have taken in and kind of regurgitated. You know, and here's the thing, I'm gonna say this right now. There's a lot of you that might disagree with some of the things I say, but it doesn't mean you're racist. It doesn't mean you're necessarily filled with hate, but it might mean that you may have some type of bias towards the way you see things because you've never experienced anything else, or because you've been fed certain and it makes you believe something, right? And you believe it to be true, and it's a honest belief. It doesn't mean that you're racist, hateful, or prejudiced or anything like that. So please keep that in mind as I'm talking about these things, all right? But people that throw out the terms tokenism, I'm going to add that. Thank you, somebody in the chat, for bringing that up, and don't take this as a slight. I'm glad you brought that word up. People use the terms virtue signaling and tokenisms. I feel, here's the thing. I can almost stand firm in saying that the only reason that those terms have been used over the last few years is because a loud minority that comes on YouTube and on social media has made these words so popular, and we regurgitate them. So for the folks that brought these words up in the chat already, I'm not knocking you, but I'm telling you, I'm asking you, do some more research on what those terms actually mean, okay? Now, here's the thing. If you truly believe that some of these terms are actually happening, I'm going to tell you right now, just because a character is black, or a character is a woman, a character is brown, or a character is queer or LGBT, it doesn't mean that you have to go right to, oh, look, I'm pointing a finger, it's virtue signaling, it's tokenism. It's a political agenda. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. Now, if you sit and do research and you understand why the artist is doing what they're doing and you have viable evidence that you can call it as such, so be it. And I'll hear that argument hands down, because I know darn well there's been times where people have done things that I'm like, you're not being genuine. You're not being genuine doing that. You just want to like appease people. You know, it's like I talk about this as well, and I hope I don't offend anybody that claims to be liberal, but I used to work in Marin County. When I lived in Richmond, I worked across the Bay, in the Bay Area in Marin County. Marin County is one of the most richest counties in America, in the United States of America. It's extremely liberal. It's extremely liberal. It's extremely white as well, right? You know what I would see? I used to work at Starbucks over there because they paid more than in Richmond. So I used to commute. I would see people come into Starbucks in their huge SUVs, right? You know, coming back from their yoga, sipping on their green tea, you know, saying namaste. And they would have bumper stickers on their big SUV saying, keep Lake Tahoe green, care about the environment, right? But you're driving a huge SUV that burns how much gas? Go in the bathroom, and I'm not making this up. They would go in the bathroom and they would come out and complain that all we had is a hand blower. That hand blower, it doesn't work and it doesn't dry my hands. You need to get paper towels in that bathroom. I want the number to corporate. Namaste, sips the green tea, gets in the SUV, driving away with the Keep Tahoe blue bumper sticker. So the point I'm trying to make is that sometimes people do things as a facade, all right? And you can look at people trying to say, I care about the environment. I care about green tea and yoga and health and meditation and environment. And but your actions don't say that. You want to slap a bumper sticker on your car and take an Indian term that, do you even know what that term means? And you want to use it because you think it makes you cool. Like, so I'm just saying, I'm not knocking yoga or people that drive SUVs because I have an SUV. I'm just making a point though. Sometimes it is true. People will act like they'll do something to appease their audience, you know, to make themselves feel good about themselves, right? When they're not being genuine in how they live their life. So I get that, but let's circle back to these statements, these labels of tokenism and virtue signaling and all this. I can guarantee you, you can't just throw a label on something just because something's black or brown or female or LGBT. You can't. Because I can guarantee you guys one thing. You don't know what Marvel or DC or the writers or the artists are thinking when they're creating them. Okay? So I want to challenge you there. Before you jump to conclusions and use emotion, due diligence before you start judging something. All right? Now, let's kind of backtrack here and talk about, let's see, let me bring up my notes. All right, let's see. Okay, we are going to talk about the Black Superman reboot. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Hannah John came in as Red Sonja. We're going to talk about that, and we are going to talk about the native indigenous Captain America. Okay, but before we bring up those specific points, I do want to say this. I'm all for representation matters. Okay, here's the thing. Again, you guys, please, I'm saying this humbly, because I know we live in a world right now where we can't have a conversation. If somebody's conservative or Republican, they're automatically racist and somebody's jumping down their throat. That's not okay. if somebody's a liberal or a Democrat, they're a P word, snowflake, communist, or it's no. We got to stop that. We have to stop it. We have to be able to have a conversation. All right. So again, some of you may hear this and may not want to agree with me, but I ask you to listen with an open mind. Look, if you are white and you grew up in America, maybe Canada, you have the privilege of opening, whether you're 20 years old, 30, 40, 50, or 60 years old. If you were a kid growing up, whether young kid, teenager, or young adult, reading comic books, the majority of the superheroes up to looked just like you. All right. You had that privilege to open up a Superman comic, a Captain America comic, an Avengers comic, an Iron Man comic, a Hulk comic, a Spider-Man comic, an X-Men comic, a Justice League comic, a Batman comic, a Flash comic, a Green Arrow comic, a Green Lantern comic, a Hawkeye comic. I can keep going. I mean, like every comic that you opened up, every superhero looked like you. Then once in a while, at some point in time in history, you might have a sidekick. If you were black in America, you might have had a sidekick that looked like you, Falcon, right? Or Jon Stewart, right? And then slowly there came characters with Black Panther and Luke Cage and whatnot. And then, we got Shang-Chi as an Asian that said, these Asian kids growing up, oh man, he looks like me. And then, we got young girls reading, no matter their race, we got young girls reading comics. So, we want young girls to look at, Wonder Woman, they've been here since the beginning, and, Black Widow and really awesome female characters as well, right? Imagine if you're white and you grew up in a world that was predominantly black, and you grew up reading comic books, and every comic book character in that comic book was black. I'm not saying you're going to consciously hate it, but at some point in time, you start getting older and maturing and becoming adult. We can, don't get me wrong. We can see ourselves in characters regardless of race. We can. But I'm telling you, you're lying. You're lying to yourselves or to me if you're going to sit and say that you wouldn't care to at least a certain extent if you're white and every single character was black. And then maybe when you were 20-something years old, there came a black character. Don't tell me that wouldn't have impacted you. You would have been like, or that, if there was a white character, if all the characters was black, and when you were 20-something years old, there was a white character, I know I would be like, oh, what? I'm going to go and get that book because this guy looks like me, right? So I'm just telling you, step out of your own shoes, put yourself in someone else's shoes, okay? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Now, with that being said, you have to understand Marvel and DC and other independent companies and more comic book are being created that are black or even female or even queer or LGBT. Look, there's queer and LGBTQ people that read comics. If I was queer or LGBT, I think it would be so cool to have a character or two that I can really relate to like that. Not that they can't relate to other characters, but still, get my point? I mean, there's characters that we can relate to more. If I'm a Native American and there's a Native character, if I'm Asian, right? If I'm Catholic, or I'm Muslim or Jewish, and there's a character that, prays like I pray, or breaks bread like I break bread, that would be awesome to me, right? All of these things matter. A down-to-earth kid that grew up in poverty, no matter his race or religion next to a billionaire that has everything. Representation matters. And guess what? Representation isn't always about race. It's about everything. It's about class. It's about race. It's about gender. It's about way of life. It's about culture, language, all these different things. So these things aren't bad, especially when we have a hobby in an art form that we love it for so long. And this is not a political statement. This is a fact that for so long was created on the backs of white dominance, because we lived in a white world, a white man's world. We did. And you can't deny that. And it's okay to admit that. All right. But now, I know that there's a lot of people that say, I don't care about a black character, but this is virtue signaling, or this is tokenism. I don't care about them changing the race, but this is forced diversity. I'm not trying to mock you guys if you're saying that. I'm gonna understand your argument in a minute. I'm gonna show some points. But I do want to say this before I show some points. Do you know what was really forced in comic books? Do you know what was really forced? And this is, again, it's not a political statement, it's a fact. The whitewashing of superheroes. Because of everything that I said previously. Because black and brown characters were not allowed. Because black and brown writers and artists and editors were not allowed. That was forced. So for us to say, look, man, for decades, we lived in a world where that was forced. Let's evolve from that, prejudice past. But let me play devil's advocate here. And let me say that some of you may have points. Some of you that say this is being forced, it's not genuine. Sometimes you're kind of right. Sometimes you're kind of right, all right? Let me give you an example. And please, guys, don't react one way or the other in the comments. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. Who remembers back in early 2020 when New Warriors was getting a new team? And we had non-binary characters named Snowflake and Safe Space. Okay. Who remembers that? Okay, cool. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't go anywhere. Now, I made a video about that saying, look, this is okay. I don't mind. Oh, let me say, actually, I'm gonna real quick. There was an overweight woman on that team. And I just want to say, it was disgusting how much hate that I saw. Oh, what kind of crime fighting is she going to fight? Not putting that next sausage in her mouth? I'm going to say right here, that's just disgusting. And if you think like that, good riddance. I am all for, representation of different body sizes in comic books. So let me just make that clear right now. But let me go back to the point I'm trying to make. Let's talk about Safe Space and Snowflake. So I did make a video saying I have no problem with LGBTQ non-binary characters. But I started putting everything in a perspective. And I watched a couple interviews of the creator. I forget his name, but he was an older, middle-aged white guy, really dorky, geeky. And not that that's wrong. A lot of us are, nerdy, geeky white guys, right? That's okay. Not a bad thing. But this guy, I'm going to tell you, was completely out of touch. Completely out of touch. I don't know. I couldn't tell you if this guy ever had like a gay or queer friend. I don't know. I don't know if it was his decision and he ran it by Marvel, or Marvel said, well, we want to, have a queer or non-binary character, which is cool, but let's go to this guy to write it. And he's like, oh, sure. I mean, I never knew any queer people and non-binary people, but guess what? I want to do the right thing. And we know that we live in a world where the term snowflake has been a derogatory one for a while. And I do not condone the term snowflake. Like I said that earlier. If you're a grown adult and you're calling somebody a snowflake, like grow up, okay? Just grow up. So I understand what they were trying to do. Snowflake sixth place. They wanted to throw it back in their faces. They wanted to throw it back in the face of bullying, right? But it was out of bad taste. And I could just absolutely tell that this writer had no idea what he was writing about. He had no idea how to represent non-binary LGBTQ characters. So I went out and I polled my LGBTQ community members, and I asked them about these characters. I shared articles with them in videos, and a lot of them came back and told me, this is kind of a slap in the face. Is this a mockery? Are they mocking LGBTQ? So, you know that saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? So, although I think this middle-aged white guy had good intentions, it was completely tone deaf. And I'm going to circle back to that rich, white, liberal-minded person that lived in Marin City that's never struggled in their life. They might be one of those to say, well, I have a black friend. Black Lives Matter, I have a black friend. Oh, you want me to go in East Oakland and talk about the housing crisis? I ain't going in that dirty. I'm not going there. Ew. But they want to talk about Keep Tahoe Blue, but just throw that bumper sticker on the back of their gas-guzzling SUV and demand that we cut down more trees so they could be pampered with paper towels in the Starbucks bathroom, right? Namaste. Right? So that's kind of like this situation here, right? So look, for those that say that want to overuse the term virtue signaling and tokenism and its forced diversity, I'm giving you guys leeway here. I'm saying, look, sometimes we can actually have this conversation and say, nope, you're doing it wrong. And see these people that said you were doing it wrong, they're not racist. They're not homophobic. They're actually saying, guys, this is tone deaf. It's whack. What the hell are you doing? But I am going to sit here and say the majority of the time in my experience, and I experience it all the time. I'm constantly watching. And my experience, more often than not, it comes from a place of hate. It really does. And I can't stand for that. More times than not, it comes from a place of hate, or it comes from a place of ignorance. And when I say ignorance, I don't mean ignorance as in you're being an evil racist person. I mean ignorance as you can't get outside of your own biases based on your own personal experience to say maybe a middle-class white male, or, you know, just a male in general, or whatever, or just an American, no matter your race. And you know, it just, you can't get out of your own personal experiences. And I think a reason why that is, and again, I'm giving you guys humanity. I'm not saying people that tend to have this ignorance are bad people and hateful people. For me, it comes from nostalgia. It comes from nostalgia. And what I mean by that is this. Us people that are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, and even, you know, people in probably their late 20s now. A lot of us, especially that collect comics, we are big nostalgia buffs, right? Because a lot of what we enjoy, there's this rich history there, right? So when we get nostalgic about things, we get personal, we get territorial, right? That's my Mary Jane. That's my Spider-Man. That's what I grew up. We get that way when it comes to, like, look, I'm that way when it comes to paper quality. I hate magazine paper. I hate the magazine paper in modern comics because I'm nostalgic to when I grew up reading these comics with newsprint. Because when I open a new comic, it does smell. It doesn't feel, and oh man, that smell. You know what that smell does? It takes me back to when I was a kid. takes me right back to when I was a kid. So guess what? Yeah, we get entitled. We get entitled to our nostalgia. And that's okay to a certain extent. If our nostalgia allows us to be entitled, though, to a past that had prejudices, a past that didn't represent other people, other brothers and sisters in our communities because of racism, classism, sexism, prejudices all around. If we are nostalgic to those things and we let them go for the sake of saying this is good representation because it represents the real world around us, and it's saying we're going to evolve from a prejudiced past. If we cling to our nostalgia and we don't want to let those things go, then we become so entitled that it becomes negligent to our fellow Black, brown, Muslim, female, LGBT, queer human beings. It is. If we're mad at a Miles Morales because Peter Parker's our Spider-Man and all they're doing is virtue signaling, that's entitlement. Because guess what? The last time I checked, I don't think I put my books away. Last time I checked, Peter Parker's still here. And Peter Parker still has multiple titles right now that you can pick up and read. You don't need to like Miles Morales, but guess what? He's doing nothing to you. And you're Peter Parker. Nothing. Oh my gosh, Tim Fox is the new Batman. It's tokenism, it's virtue signaling, it's forced diversity. They're ruining my childhood. Last I checked, Bruce Wayne is still Batman. I got to take a break here and give a big shout out to Sixth Element of Hip Hop for the super chat. Thank you so much. We talk about these things Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern on our show, Hip Hop and Comics. We love to have you on to join us. I would love to be on your show. Hit me up on Instagram or send me an email. Schedule something in. Absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to say thank you for the chat, for being here. I know I haven't been able to really look at the chat, but I've been peeking at it. And I just want to say I really appreciate, I haven't read every little thing, but I want to appreciate everyone for being, for the most part, what looks to be respectful of each other. I absolutely appreciate it so much. Because, again, that's the biggest takeaway that I want you all to realize here. Okay. I have to notice the comment because honestly, take that, dummy. Honestly, you're leading. You set me up. You're setting me up perfectly for my next segue. You're setting me up perfectly. Take that, dummy. Says, bro. I hope that's a respectful bro and not a cynical one. They are replacing Clark Kent. What don't you understand about that? They're not putting another character into the Superman role. They are making Clark Kent black, not another character. Okay, first off, take that, dummy. There's two things going on here. There's comic books and then there's movies. Nobody is taking away Clark Kent. Nobody. Nobody's taking away your Clark Kent. Nobody's taking away 83 years of a white man that's an alien. Nobody is taking away your Clark Kent in your comic books. Here's the facts about the movie, though. Let me bring up the facts about this Black Superman movie. These are the facts. Because I know there's a lot of hogwash out there. Don't believe everything CBR reports or we got this covered. Here's the facts on the Black Superman movie so far. All right. Facts. J.J. Abrams is producing. Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing. Okay? And these are the only other facts that we know. Listen, the film will feature a Kal-El that is similar to the original comics, hailing from Krypton and coming down to Earth. Take that. You're wrong, at least right now. Nobody has proof that this new black Superman in a live action film is Clark Kent. Nobody knows that right now. Nobody. Nobody. Guess what? Calvin Ellis, his name is Kal-El. This is the problem too, guys. This is the problem. You guys have to stop believing in rumors before there's facts. I'm going to tell you guys right now. I said it. I'm not even going to name it. I'm not going to name it. We will not label people with hateful terms in this chat. If I see it one more time, you will be muted. You will be muted. That is not why we're here. If you can't handle being respectful in this chat, you can leave. You can leave. And I'm going to tell everyone watching right now, because this is, look, you get a little success, here come the haters, right? I may be approaching 7K subs. This is my business and my livelihood. But I already got the people that are, once you get, it's like why people hate Comic Tom and these folks that are big in the community. You get a little publicity, you get the haters, right? I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't give a damn. I don't want any of you to leave. This is a conversation where I welcome all of you, no matter your opinions. But I don't welcome hate. And if you want to unsubscribe from me because you want to be hateful, I really don't care. I will never censor myself for the sake of clicks and subs. I will never censor myself. I represent a brand and a culture and responsibility of what I believe in. That's what journos, comics, and pop culture is all about. So, look, I told you in the beginning, this is a sensitive discussion today, but this is a welcoming environment. Right now, you may be sitting on your phone or on your laptop, on your couch, in your bedroom, in your car, at a park. But right now, we're breaking bread at the same table. No matter if you're white, black, Republican, Democrat, Muslim, Christian, I don't care. If you can't respect that and you're coming in here bringing hate, you can leave. Now, I'm going to get back to the point I was making. Nobody knows that this black Superman in a film is going to be Clark Kent. Nobody. Here's what we also know. Warner Brothers executives have already made the statement that everything that happens in live action right now for DC property is in the multiverse that's all connected. It might not be a part of the DCEU directly, but it's a greater multiverse. So this is where what I can understand. It's not about race. Like my son, he was like, man, I'm not mad about race, but why are they recasting Superman? I want Henry Cavill. I want Henry Cavill. That's all he cares about. So if you're upset because you just wanted to see Henry continue to play the role, that's fine. They can replace him and recast him with a white guy. It doesn't matter. The bottom line, though, this black Superman, as of this point, we do not know that this black Superman is going to be Clark Kent. But let's put a hypothetical out there. Let's put a hypothetical. Let's say this new reboot is Clark Kent. Say it is. If this new reboot is a black Clark Kent, for those people that are white or that grew up identifying with Superman as a white man, even if you're not white, and identifying him as a white man as you saw him in the pages of those comic books, nostalgia, if that means something to you, which I get it, if that means something to you, guess what's never changing? Guess what's never changing? 83 years of that white Superman. Never. It's never going to change. You have thousands of comics, thousands, with white Superman in it, with white Clark Kent. You know what else you have that'll never change? That'll never change? 8 live action feature films with white Superman. You know what else you have? Multiple TV shows and multiple seasons, including one of my favorites, Smallville, with white Clark Kent. That'll never change. So if you're not prejudiced or racist and you merely are upset because of your nostalgia, right? I can understand that. Man, I want to look at this Superman and see the Superman that I grew up with, right? I understand that. But you have to stop there. I have to ask you and I plead with you to stop there. Because if you don't stop there, it turns into entitlement. Because I guarantee you that this change is not ruining your life. And you will always have 83 years of white Clark Kent to be nostalgic about. It's one thing if they're going to go back and burn all the Superman books of white Clark Kent and change his race. Like, that's not okay. That's fascism. You know, that's fascism. You can't burn history like that just to try to make a statement. That's not happening. It's not happening. All right. So I hope that I'm going to move on to the 2 other options before we end our stream today, because I'm running out of time. Examples, that is. But I want to end on the Superman note on this. Nobody's taking away your Clark Kent. Nobody's taking away your Clark Kent. And guess what? If this is a black Clark Kent in the movie, go watch the movie. Go watch the movie. Because Clark Kent is an alien. He's a freaking alien. They can paint him god freaking dang purple. He's an alien. Go watch the movie. If the actor playing him, if he's Clark Kent and he's black, but he does a good job, just enjoy the movie. Just enjoy the movie. If he's black and he doesn't do a good job, don't hate it because he's black. Hate it because he didn't do a good job. And it's that simple. That's what I asked you guys. To do. Let's talk about the next example here, everyone. I'm going to move on from Superman. We're going to talk about Hannah John Kamen as Red Sonja. So again, I saw so much ugliness around this casting. Again, it's tokenism, it's forced diversity, it's this and that. This is a fact, guys. I don't know if you guys know this. And I don't want to sound rude, but I'm laughing at this because people are so mad, but yet they don't even understand these characters, these fictional characters. Do you know that Red Sonja is not white? Who in the chat knows? Who in the chat knows that Red Sonja is not white? All right. Who knows that Red Sonja isn't white? And I'm going to ask, what ethnicity is Red Sonja? Does anybody know what ethnicity Red Sonja is? Red Sonja is not white. Does anybody know what ethnicity she is? She's native. Remy says she's native to where, though? Because native could be taken out of context. Prime time. Really appreciate this comment, Prime time. Exactly. Just a little humility goes a long way. It does. Imdrian. Myth Lab. Oh. Sumerian. Close. Cold War Comics. Conan is Sumerian. I keep trying to get to darn it, you guys. Too many comments. Mythlab said it first. Persian. Red Sonja is Persian. She's Middle Eastern. She's freaking Middle Eastern. So this is what just drives me absolutely nuts. You get a casting call of a mixed actress who's Norwegian and Nigerian, I believe. She's black and white. She's mixed black and white. Like my kids, my children are mixed black and white. And folks are in an uproar because of forced diversity, virtue signaling, tokenism, another white character, race swapping. Red Sonja is Middle Eastern. She's Persian. She's Persian. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh. So this goes back to what I was saying earlier. I'm not trying to say everyone's racist and prejudiced, but it goes back to this reactionary behavior. This reactionary behavior where we just point a finger because we heard something and we want to regurgitate it. We heard a couple of YouTubers saying, using these key terms, tokenism, virtue signaling, forced diversity, and we listen to them and we think it's reality. And then as soon as something happens, oh, there it is. Yep, that's what they were talking about. When you don't even know that the character themselves is brown. That's pretty bad. So that's pretty bad. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. Now, another thing that I want to point out is that we all know that obviously Red Sonja has red hair. Hannah John Kamen has auburn highlights in her hair. It was the same argument with Zendaya's Mary Jane. Do you know that Zendaya has auburn highlights in her hair? Mixed people, black that are mixed with black and white, oftentimes they'll come out with freckles and reddish tint in their hair. You know that? Look at the actress in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Oh my gosh, what's her name? Oh, Kylie. You know, the main antagonist. She's mixed. She's biracial. She had the freckles in the beautiful red hair. So it's funny because everyone made an uproar about Zendaya when, well, what about Kirsten Dunst? Kirsten Dunst, who really looks nothing like Mary Jane in the comics, and she's blonde. They just dyed her hair red. Nobody argued about that. Nobody said this is virtue signaling or this is, tokenism to blonde folks. It's not like it was in the comic books. She's a blonde. Anyways, I'm going to bring up the last example here, everyone. And I'm going to bring this up on screen. Because I don't want to butcher any of these native names. I'll bring this on screen here real quick. Give me one moment. Okay. So, as we all know, or most of us know, we got a new character named Joe Gomez. All right, it's going to make his debut in the United States as Captain. We know that in issue 1, we had the queer, runaway that idolized Captain America and started, standing up to bullies in his neighborhood, right? Now we have an indigenous character of the Americas, the original peoples of this land. And it says here, meet Joe Gomez, the Captain America of the Kickapoo tribe, created by geoscientist and Lipan Apache Darcy Little. So you actually have a native indigenous American writing this story. And I can't say this name, the First Nation's name. I'm not even going to attempt to butcher it. But the artist, David J. Cutler, is another native indigenous of this country. writing this character who's going to alongside, who is fighting alongside Steve Rogers, a white male Captain America. Okay, so here's the thing. Again, the comments that I saw on these posts, it hurts my stomach. First off, here we are again. Nobody's replacing Steve Rogers. Nobody is replacing Captain America. Nobody. And this character, Joe Gomez, and I forget his name, but the queer runaway, this is the embodiment of America. This is the embodiment of what Steve Rogers' Captain America stands for. The fact that America is supposed to be a melting pot of different people, of different races and ethnicities and cultures and creeds, religions. And we are one under the roof, one nation within the borders of this country. Captain America, for 80 years as a white male, has been the symbol of this country. And he's been an amazing one that's fought against tyranny, oppression. He's fought against his own government. Because that's what we as Americans are supposed to do. A nation for the people, by the people, where even our own government is not beyond us, is here to serve us. And we have the right, under the constitutional rights granted to us, that we, the people, are the true representatives of this nation. So what has Captain America as a white man done for 80 years? He said, all of my brothers and sisters, black, brown, white, and especially the native indigenous peoples of this land, stand beside me and fight with me. I am your brother. I am your countryman. This is America. How do we not get that? It's 2021. And now I'm going to get kind of animated here. If you don't get that and you come out and call this virtue signaling and pandering and forced diversity, then guess what you're telling me at this point? Now, I'm going to put my humility aside for a quick minute. If you listen to me for the last, how long we've been live? 72 minutes. And I bring this up and I've said what I said and I've sat as humble as I possibly could be on this subject. I couldn't be any more humble to understand everyone's point of view on this subject. If you still look at this and think this is a negative thing, then maybe you really do need to look in the mirror, because maybe you are prejudiced. So, I'm going to end on this note, everyone. Let me pull this out of the screen. Let me get some water. I'm not being judgmental. No, I'm not. If you want to think I am, that's fine. I can't change your mind. But all I'm saying is look in the mirror. That's all I'm saying. If you have to sit here and see this as a negative thing at this point, and I'm talking about this one specific situation. That's what I'm talking about, spec collector. Maybe you thought I was generalizing it now. I'm specifically talking to the native indigenous Captain America. If you listen to me over the last 70-something minutes, and we get to this example and you think that this is bad and negative, then maybe you are. Not you, I just mean folks in general. Maybe you do need to look in the mirror. Maybe you do. And you can judge for yourself. But you might be lying to yourself. But here's how I'm going to end this. The moral of the story here today is this. Look, I want to put to bed this whole thing of like comic books, modern comics today, and it's just all political agenda. The majority of people that say comic books today are nothing but a political agenda have two issues going on. One, they don't realize that comic books have always been a political agenda, really. Do you know that Superman was created as a political agenda? Superman was the representation of Jewish oppression. Superman was virtue signaling. Superman was the epitome of virtue signaling, the epitome of it. Those that say comic books today are nothing but political agendas, the majority of them, they don't read comics. They don't read comics. I've been reading Thor, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, a lot of the future state titles, indie books. I've been reading Crossover, a couple other indie books off the top of my head. I've been reading Hellions. I've been reading Venom, King in Black. I read some Silver Surfer. I've been reading a lot of stuff. And guess what? Every single book that I'm reading has nothing to do with politics. Nothing. You know what Thor's about? Mystical gods from different realms. You know what Venom's about? A guy battling demons, wanting to raise his son, trying to fight a symbiote king. You know what Spider-Man's been about? The same old Actually, now I'm liking what Nick Spencer's been doing as of late. You know, he's battling Kingpin because Kingpin wants to find these ancient tablets and take over the world. Crossover is about superheroes coming into the real world and then being like persecuted, like kept captive. They're oh no, these superheroes are in the real world. They're a threat, so we're going to imprison them. It's comic books as they should be. Nothing that I'm reading has anything to do with politics, really. None of it. So that's one thing. All right. Now, that I want to point out. I'm going to bring up my notes here because I don't want to get sidetracked. Got to bring up my notes. All right. So I do want to end on this note too. I did talk about sometimes folks are tone deaf. I talked about the new Warriors, and I talked about how that was tone deaf, and some of those folks, the benefit of the doubt, how sometimes they have a solid argument to say, oh, this queer character or this new black character, they're not doing it right. It feels forced, whatever. Sometimes there may be a valid argument there because it needs to be genuine. But I'm telling you guys, especially Marvel's learned, because I do feel like the path to hell is paved with good intentions. I feel some years back, Marvel had good intentions to try to diversify their lineup, but I feel like it was soulless. Maybe you could use the word forced, right? It was tone deaf because they weren't getting the right representation to tell these stories. You know what they're doing now? They're getting the representation to tell these stories. The Native America that's teaming up with Steve Rogers, written by Native Indigenous peoples, right? You got let's see, I think I took notes. Yeah, we got Muslim characters being written by Muslim artists, right? We got women writers. We got female characters written by women writers and being drawn by women artists, right? We got Asian characters written and drawn by Asian artists. We got queer LGBT characters written by queer and LGBT artists and writers. That way, it's true to the fact that these people have walked in their shoes, that you can bring real life experiences to these characters. So it's not forced or it's not pandering. It's saying these people exist in the real world, and we're getting real people that understand these lives that they've lived, right? So now all you're doing is adding to the amount of characters that we all can identify with. Because guess what? As white males or middle-aged men, no matter your race, guess what? There's always going to be Peter Parkers. There's always going to be, Tony Starks and Steve Rogers and Clark Kents and Bruce Waynes. But now, to add to that, there are T'Challas. There are, Luke Cages. There are, and then more, modern. There are, your Wiccans, or your Batwomans, your Kate Kanes. So, and now there's your Joe Gomez's. All right. All they're doing is adding to the lineup to say that these people exist in the world. And guess what? People like you and come from lives that you've lived, they too can be super. They too can be superheroes. That is the moral of the story here, folks. I urge you all, look, if it's not for you, don't buy it. It's like this. This is the totality of the argument here. If you walk into a Baskin Robbins or an ice cream parlor, right? And your favorite ice cream is pecan, right? Butter pecan. And you hate chocolate. You think chocolate tastes like shit, right? Are you going to walk up to the counter, where they have the tubs of 32 flavors of ice cream, and you're going to see chocolate 2 buckets away from your pecan? Are you going to see, how dare you? That chocolate is ruining my ice cream. That chocolate is ruining my life. It's ruining my butter pecan. Like, really? No. Now, if they start taking the chocolate and putting it in the butter pecan and calling it butter pecan, and you're tasting it and it tastes weird, maybe I'm right. I don't know if that even makes sense. Like I said, if they start, erasing 83 years of Clark Kent and say, nah, Superman was this all along, then it's like, dude, stop mixing my chocolate in with my butter pecan. I get it, right? It's not happening. I love chocolate. Let me come up in there. Guess what? This is how comic books should be. Let me come up in there and get my chocolate. You can go up in there and get your butter pecan. And you know what we can do? Instead of you yelling at me about how my chocolate is ruining your butter pecan, and me yelling at you saying, well, your butter pecan is ruining my chocolate, we can sit down and enjoy our butter pecan and chocolate together. Now that's a goddamn thought. So how about you go and you pick up your Steve Rogers Captain America book? I'm going to go pick up my Miss Marvel Kamala Khan, and we're going to sit down and we're going to enjoy comic books together. You go watch Spider-Man No Way Home with your Peter Parker, and I'll go watch Into the Spider-Verse 2 with Miles Morales, and then we're going to come together and we're going to talk about it and enjoy the hobby together. So, encourage you all to leave this stream today open mind, with humility, with to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Doesn't mean you always have to agree with them, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to speak your piece. But when you do, I encourage you to be humble, and a little bit of humility goes a long way. Always be able to listen. Too many people on all sides of an argument go into that argument like this, and they don't want to listen. Even people that jump down people's throats for having issues with a black Superman or something like that. That's not why I'm here. Because I want to listen to you, but I also want you to listen to me. I've put my feet in your shoes. I hope you take the time to do the same in mine. And I want you to take the time to do the same for my kids who are biracial. Because my son loves Miles Morales. To those same kids that might be growing up in Africa, maybe in an impoverished place in Africa, and although they've enjoyed Superman and Captain America their whole lives, they get their hand, a Black Panther comic, and right? Or, you get somebody living in the Amazon states of South America, and they pull up that, where is it? Oh, what I do with it? Right here. A little girl in like, Bolivia or Peru or somewhere in South America can pick this book up and say, it's me. And then after she reads the book, she goes and gets, remember the bathroom pixie cups? Remember the pixie cups that you kept in the bathroom to wash your mouth out when you brush your teeth? Who would take the bottom out? Who would take the bottom out and put them on your wrists and be He-Man? Who would do that? How about a little Peruvian or Peruvian little girl reading this book, going into her bathroom and getting the pixie cups, knocking the bottom out, putting them on because she's got Wonder Woman's wristbands, and she goes out and is like, Yara Floor, I'm Wonder Woman. Because that matters. That matters. So, go tune in to very toxic people on YouTube. I'm not going to name any names. Actually, I am going to name a name. I'm going to say one more thing. Man, I'm going to say one more thing before I end the stream because I believe it is imperative. I don't even want to put this guy on blast, but I'm going to. A lot of you may be familiar with Jeremy of Geeks and Gamers. Geeks and Gamers is a YouTube platform full of nothing but toxicity. He has blown up. Here's the thing. I was subscribed to Geeks and Gamers, and I watched Geeks and Gamers before he really blew up. And Jeremy was a decent human being. And we shared a lot of similarities, similar opinions on Star Wars. We both had a lot of issues with The Last Jedi. But guess what Jeremy found out? Jeremy found out that if he's toxic in every single one of his videos, if he's anti-woman, anti-black, anti anything other than, I'm just going to stop there. He realized that he could get clicks and views and subscribers from it. Now, I'm not just saying this as accusations, because guess what? I called Jeremy out on my channel a couple years ago, and he actually agreed to a sit down. And we went live, not on my channel, but we went live. And Jeremy said to my face, this is the 100% truth. Jeremy said to my face, I'm going to pause right there. Guys, just because somebody says something is fact doesn't mean it's fact. I've studied law and I studied argumentation. And not to toot my own horn, I never lost a debate in college. Anybody that wants to bring up facts, hit me up on IG, send me an email. I'll go to town with you. I'll win. Facts aren't facts just because you put a hashtag facts at the end of it. Let me get back to what I was saying. Jeremy said to my face, straight up to my face, that he knows what he does, and he does it because it gets him views. He said it to my face. He says that every single video he does has the term SJW or C or forced diversity or tokenism. He puts all those things in his videos. And anybody that even questions his motives he'll go back and make a video about him and attack him. He is the definition of a bully. And he knows what he does, and he's okay with being a bully because the only thing that he cares about is clicks, views, and subscribers. That's not an accusation. It's a fact because he said it. And that live stream is still online somewhere. So I'm going to end on this. I just had to throw that out because I want you guys to stop listening to these people. Don't go listen to other people that have a one-sided biased opinion on the other end of a spectrum, though. Anybody who brings the political argument into this so much, you probably don't really want to spend too much time listening to. If somebody makes this about a Democratic or liberal thing, I wouldn't even listen to them. I wouldn't. And because I know that a lot of my fans and friends of the channel are conservative and Republicans, or excuse me, and liberals and Democrats. And I like I said, man, all of you guys are family here. So I encourage you to just stop listening to people that are toxic, okay? If you hear something and it goes against what you feel is right, or it's rubbing against your nostalgia, or you don't know if it's going to be good, and you don't know if people have the best intentions behind it, do some more research. Sit back. Don't be reactionary. Think about it before you say something. Ask questions. Ask questions. And formulate an argument before you just jump into pointing fingers and generalizing and name calling. All right. I hope you guys took something away from this today. I really hope you do. I really hope you do. And that's the beauty of this all. I said this before. I've said it a lot. My channel is to bring people together. We have way too much in the world right now going on where we're divided. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You know, we're seeing families torn apart because of who they vote. When if we really took the time, if we turn off our TVs, turn off your TV. Let me challenge you guys with something. Turn off your TV. Turn off your phone. Turn off social media. Go outside and say hello to your neighbor. If you're white, go say, and you have a black neighbor or a Asian or a Latino neighbor, or maybe they're Muslim and you're Christian or Jewish or Catholic or whatever. Maybe they're emo and they have tattoos. Maybe they're thug drills. Oh my gosh. Are they dangerous? I don't know. Go say hello to them. Go say hello. Hey, how's it going today? How you doing? How's your day going? See where it goes. So I'm going to tell you something. The Mexican that lives or that works in landscaping, works in the 100-degree heat every day, comes home to provide for his family. The single mother across the street that works 2 jobs because she grew up in poverty. She didn't have a father growing up. She didn't have that upbringing, but now she has kids, and as a mother, she wants to do the best that she can for her kids. So she worked 2 jobs, and she was able to buy a house. She wants to provide for her family. To the Asian couple that works the corner store, that lives kitty corner, that has a son now that, because they came to this country when they were young because they wanted a better life. And now their son is about to graduate high school. And although they've had to work nickel and diamond running a corner store, guess what? Their son is getting accepted into UC Davis because they want his son to be a doctor. They want their son to be a doctor. They want to do what's best for their family. To the black man that got into that hood life at a young age and caught a case because he I don't know, hurt somebody when he was young or robbed the bank, spent 5 years in the penitentiary, came out, found God, and now he's a pastor at your local church because he wants to provide for his family. Everyone has their differences and everyone has their story. But at the end of the day, we have more in common than and we all want things in life. Some sense of freedom and purpose, to reap what we sow, to provide for our family, and to pass something down to our kids and our grandkids. So when we leave this earth, we could be proud of the life that we led. Let's continue to let comic books be a bridge to that humanity, because there is so goddamn much dividing us right now. To let these freaking books that are supposed to allow us to escape from the world be a tool of hate and divisiveness. I still see the cynicism. Yo, take that, dummy. You know where I come from? I'm white. You know where I come from? From Richmond, California, man. I caught a 15 years old. I caught a case at 15 years old. My best friend died when I was 13. One of my peers that I idolized was stabbed to death at 17. I ran the streets. I went hungry. And I lived in poverty, raising my own kids in poverty. I had to put my kids to bed hungry. And I've worked since I was 15 years old. You know, I was out robbing and stealing. I was out robbing and stealing, smoking and drinking. But yet I was getting up at 4 a.m. delivering newspapers to make money because I knew work ethic. Every day I was either facing a sale or death. But I came out of that. And at a young age, I had kids. And I lived in poverty, raising my kids. You know what I did? I stayed on my hustle and I put myself through school and I earned 3 degrees. 3 degrees. Now I own my own business. Don't come up in here telling me that I'm saying a narrative about whites just have it all good. The fuck out of here with that shit. I've been through my shit. But guess what? Because of the color of my skin, I can sit here and humble myself and recognize that everyone else goes through their own goddamn struggles. If you miss that fucking point, then you can bounce the fuck up out of here. I don't give a fuck. I raise my children are biracial. I walk down the street and hear them being called nigger. My black wife. Sometimes I'm scared for my black wife to walk out the door alone because she gets folks driving by in vans screaming, "Bitch nigger." I had to keep heat on me to protect my family. Don't come in here and being all cynical, trying to put words in my mouth. Now you brought it out of me. Now you brought it out of me. Now you brought it the fuck up out of me. I came here welcoming everybody and everybody's point of view. And you want to gaslight me and my motherfucking show on my goddamn channel. Fuck out of here with that shit. I give a fuck if you unsubscribe or ever come back to my shit. I ain't special. I ain't special. But guess what? I ain't the one up in here wanting attention. Get the fuck out of my show. Peace. Peace. Don't feed the trolls. I apologize, folks. I apologize. I'm going to take it down and I'm going to end it on this note. I've been through my own shit and I don't need to sit here and talk about it to prove it. Everybody goes through their own shit, no matter if you're black, white, brown, Muslim, Christian. It don't matter. That's the point of what I'm trying to say. And I know damn well 99% of you heard my message. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all. We had one bad seed. We had one bad seed in this show tonight. One. And I ain't letting one bad seed ruin the purpose of this show. Not one. So I thank all of you for listening with an open mind. All of you. With that being said, truly, I appreciate you guys. I got to go get ready for a Comic Book Canon show. I love you all. And I wish you all the best. And even the trolls that want attention, that still don't get it, that want to gaslight me, I still got love for you too. And I'll pray for you. I swear to God. I'm not just saying that. I'm not being cynical. It's your own shortcomings, man. I really hope you can look in the mirror and figure it out, man. I know, I'm sure you're not a bad person. But you can't change them all. Can't change them all. Thank you, guys. I really do love you all, man. I do. I thank you guys for allowing me to have this platform today. I do. It means a lot to me. It really does. I hope to see you all in the canon. Peace.